the Tech Startup Ecosystem Meet. On behalf of IMAI and all of you, I heartily welcome our guest of honor, Dr. Ajay Kumar Garg, Senior Director and Scientist, Ministry of Electronics and Information, Government of India. Welcome, sir. While any other words would not do justice to brief out about your profile, sir, I would like to give a quick brief to our audience. An engineer by qualification, a technocrat by profession, and a champion of information technology by choice. Dr. Garg is an experienced technocrat and a veteran in the IPR. Dr. Garg has initiated and implemented various schemes to support international patent protection by SMEs and technology startups. Currently serving as Director in Ministry of Electronics and Information Technology, Government of India, Dr. Garg is handling a variety of responsibilities, including heading the International Cooperation Division, a critical arm of MeitY to promote international trade and cooperation and e-commerce matters. Welcome, sir. I request you to kindly grace our audience with the valedictory session.
Thank you, IMI. Thank you, Hackathon. Thank you, Government of Haryana. It's an honor to be part of this very important event. Uh, I know IMI has been doing some very good work on bringing digital companies onto a platform where Indian digital companies can actually compete with the global partners. Technology is the key to future growth that everyone understands. And how do we bring technology to the forefront in the path in the India's growth story is what we have been discussing on at various forums, and I think that's the main topic on which Thrive Tech is based upon. We all understand that we are going through a very, very difficult phase in the development of mankind. No one of us, the oldest or the youngest, has ever faced a situation which is of this, which is to concern both economically and on the health front of the magnitude that we are facing today. The mankind is challenged by a virus, and I feel that the mankind is in need of technology to fight this virus. And that's the key that drives technology for the future. If you look at what has been our past and what is our future, we would see two very distinct uh, geographies. We have been in the digital part, have been mainly a services oriented industry where 54% of the global trade on outsourcing has been captured by Indian companies. These Indian companies started off young in the early 90s. Maybe they can be called as startups of those days and grew into global giants of today. And that's where the $180 billion services industry stands today. But at the same time, while we were doing excellent on the services part, our development on innovation, our development on digital products, and our development on solving societal problems through digital technologies was a missing link. We did not thrive much, and we had only, as far as the industry is concerned, we had only $8 billion to show as the might of Indian digital products. Whereas if you look at one single digital company in the Silicon Valley, whether it's Google or Facebooks and others, they have a magnitude which is much larger than this. But then theirs were a model of proprietary digital platforms that actually thrived on consumer experiences mainly. And they were able to touch base on the first 1.5 billion people of the world. In the year 2013 around, India came up with a very innovative concept of having a biometric signature or an identity of every individual called an Aadhaar. 3 years down the line, we came up with a platform called the Unified Payment Interface. Why I'm talking about these are public digital platforms that actually connect every citizen, whether rich or poor, whether digitally literate or not, to the digital world. The growth of both Aadhaar and UPI has been phenomenal and has been a role example by which the public digital platforms can bring in massive innovation and improvement in efficiencies in systems. And that was a game changer point at which India actually entered the digital product space or digital innovation space with a very different model where the low cost, frugal solutions connecting the last person on the map to digital technologies was the focus. So we all of a sudden created a market for 7.5 billion global people, whereas the proprietary digital platforms of the Silicon Valley can only touch base on the top 1.5 billion population of the world. At the same time, during this period, India started emerging as an important startup destination, a startup system which actually thrived on frugal, low cost technology solving problems of the society, whether they are in healthcare, whether they are in education, whether they are in transportation, logistics, supply of goods and services. You take anything, and these digital technologies have actually been, these startups have actually been able to help solve societal problems at low cost. What was required for the system was that how do we actually nurture this? How do we incorporate all of this into our next generation growth? And both the state governments as well as the central government thought that it will be important that these companies are given maximum benefits and maximum support so that they can be part of our next generation growth story to take India to a $1 trillion digital economy and an overall economy of a size of 5 trillion by 2025. And in this context, my ministry or the Ministry of Electronics and IT came up with an array of schemes to support this. The first and the foremost that I will talk about is that if the IT sector grew from few hundred million to 180 billion in 25 years or so, the software technology parks of India providing plug and play facility and a single window clearances for uh, all export related challenges these ITS companies face had a very stellar role to play in this growth. These, whereas, so the experience of STPI in supporting the IT industry had to be leveraged to the fullest. It had to grow from services to innovation and product ecosystem, and that was required. Mighty realized this fact and came up with first the National Policy on Software Product 2019. At the same time, it developed around 15 center of excellences around major places where STPI is connected to traditional industry. If Pune is an IT capital, it is at the same time a small important hub of automobile manufacturing. So we established a center of excellence on automotive electronics or automotive vehicles at Pune, connecting the traditional automobile industry and the IT industry both together. Both the important IT industry, whether it's Tech Mahindra or 5G or so, were our partners to this. At the same time, the Tata Motors, the Mahindras, the JDs, and many other automobile industries, as well as their testing and research facilities, are participating in this. The point I want to make is that we have been driving digital to other sectors of economy where we find the next generation growth. The tier 2 and tier 3 cities where the IT industry is missing, it is only concentrated on eight cities in the country, but STPI has got its facilities in more than 60 places. So what we thought that we'll use these infrastructure to promote startups in these, and we came up with a next generation incubation scheme for STPI to establish incubation facilities in the tier 2 and tier 3 cities. 15 have already been established, and 10 more will be established within a year. And they have been supporting around 600 startups in the tier 2, tier 3, where we find that the problems are of bigger magnitude and they require digital solutions to solve them. The next important thing is that if in a technology space, the academia, the government, and the industry both have to have a joint relationship and a mutual understanding which needs to thrive to bring technology for and convert that into economics or commercial benefits. India has done well on education. At the same time, we have some of the best premier institutes of the country in the form of IITs, IIMs, AIMS, and ICARs, and all these. But the missing point was that the research that was being done mainly through public funded uh, programs did not convert into commercial benefits. What we thought is that instead of they doing a technology transfer, let's come up with a scheme where we allow a researcher to be an entrepreneur. The technology incubation and development of entrepreneurs scheme, where we established 51 incubation facilities in institutes of higher learning and research, have been established, and they are actually bringing technology from research institutes for commercial benefits. The next thing I will talk about is that no relationship in India is complete where without a center state partnership. Center state and the industry coming together. We came up with a scheme called the Center of Excellence schemes, where we are establishing Center of Excellence in conjunction with the state governments at various places. So if in Gurugram there is a center of excellence on IoT, a center of excellence on blockchain. So it is, and we says that whereas both Haryana government and government of India has participated in the center of excellences, we are actually inviting problems from the state government to be solved by these state center of excellence. So we ensure an active participation of the state government, not only through funds but also through their physical participation. So we have established more than 26 such center of excellences around in different states in the country, where the state, the government, and the industry are joint partners. The next thing I will want to talk about is that whereas we talk about startups, we have more than 50,000 startups. Only 34 graduated to be unicorns, and we see around 16 more in few years. The number of companies which are $1 million or plus are very few in number as compared to the 50,000 that we have. We need to grow. If we have a battery of young entrepreneurs solving problems which are commercially viable, there is a need for support to convert these ideas into successful business ventures. And what is required is two things: a need for a venture fund or an investment fund, and a need for a market, the initial market where they can showcase the strength of their solutions for solving problems, whether it's for the government or for the for the industry or for the public. For the investment fund, I will talk about two schemes: the Electronic Development Fund that Government of India came, which Can Bank is running, where we actually take the manufacturing companies and support them with investment funds to convert their electronic manufacturing ideas into successful business ventures. And at the same time, we also are trying to bring in the Software Product Development Fund, which is a scheme where we are actually doing a very, very innovative idea that it is a 25,000 crore fund to be invested in young software product companies or digital companies But the difference between this fund and earlier funds is that in India, the venture or the rupee capital is missing because of the reason that our public financial institutions are averse to investing in venture funds. The pension funds, the LICs, and the insurance companies do not invest in the venture funds directly. We, through this fund, are making an attempt to actually bring them as partners and invest 4,000 crores. Government invests 1,000 crores, and we get a private sector investment of 20,000 to create a corpus of 125,000, which will in turn will create a 1,25,000 crore product ecosystem in the country, and which is important for the next generation growth of the IT industry. We also need to understand that if there are problems in the government, if the government needs to adopt innovation, it cannot be through traditional procurement processes. These processes have been age old and has always actually taken well proven technologies, and innovation cannot be bought through this. During the COVID period, when we realized that the virtual mode is the mode by which man to man or human to human connect will happen. If you have to have your meetings or if you have to connect with your anyone, it has to be through a video conferencing solution. There were concerns about the video conferencing solutions available from some foreign companies, about the security, about the data traveling out of the country, and many other issues. We thought that let's bring Indian innovators participate in a challenge, which we ran through the Mighty Startup Hub. I'll talk about the Mighty Startup Hub after this, and find out the possible Indian companies which can provide an alternate to the Zooms and the Googles and the WebEx of the world. You'll be happy to note that 1982 entrepreneurs actually applied under that challenge. It took us all the effort to actually bring them down, but we were not able to actually bring them down to one, which was the initial motive of this. But we brought them, and we actually adopted four video conferencing solutions for the government, which is now known as the Bharat Video Conference. Four solutions. The government has now decided that all its meetings and all its interactions will only happen on these video conference solutions provided by young entrepreneurs. You'll be happy to note that even the Wipros and the Tatas and the SCLs participated in this program, but the winner was a small time entrepreneur from a small town called Alleppey in Kerala. That is the power of Indian innovation, and that we were doing. Now we are running similar challenges around manufacturing, promoting manufacturing. We are running a challenge for the Jal Shakti mission at present, where we are finding a IoT based network solution which is low cost, so that a good quality and quantity drinking water can be ensured to every citizen, which is the objective of the Honorable Prime Minister's Independence Day declaration in 2019, that every citizen will get a good quality and quantity drinking water by 2025. And that with that objective in mind, how do we monitor it? We are running a challenge to find out an IoT solution. At the same time, if a vaccine is to be distributed to every citizen based on a pre-conceptualized a priority list, there has to be a digital solution which adopts that. You must be aware that Aragya Setu was a brainchild of a young entrepreneur from Bangalore, adopted by the government, and now is a solution of the government, which has been of great help in fighting the COVID. At the same time, the quarantine bans and many other solutions, which actually or alternates to ventilators, we have never been able to manufacture a good quality ventilator prior to COVID. But in the COVID period, many of our innovators came up with a battery of solutions around ventilators, which one thought at that time was the solution to fight COVID. Now the challenge is that how do you distribute vaccine? How do you monitor vaccine distribution? And how do you ensure that the temperature and other parameters of such vaccines are maintained to keep its efficacy in hold? And we are very soon, within 2 or 3 days, a COVID grand challenge will be coming, where will we ask entrepreneurs and innovators to propose solutions which can provide a logistic support over a co-win platform. The limited point I want to drive is that we have found an alternate to procure traditional procurement methods, that now we are routing future innovations to be adopted in India through Indian companies through a challenge route, and that the mighty startup has been there. So you will be I've not talked about the mighty startup hub, so I thought I'll keep it to the last. Now, all this tech innovation ecosystem needs to be integrated. The tech innovation ecosystem does not end with providing small seed funds or an incubation facility. It has to be, you have to go much beyond that. You have to give them a strong mentor support, where because it's a deep tech world where they need different type of expertise to mature the solution. They require a battery of facilities to be provided to actually mature the solution. So if someone sitting in Patiala needs a clean room to develop a semiconductor, and if an IIT Bombay has its clean room free for 3 hours a day, that can be provided to such individuals, and interconnect has to happen. So what we did is we created a mighty startup hub that interconnects the whole tech startup ecosystem onto a single platform. It brings together all the facilities. It brings together all the tech innovate startups. It brings together all the tech incubators. It brings together the mentors, and at the same time, it also brings access to large companies which might to partner with the young startups for their next generation growth, or their endeavor to promote acceleration to such startups. And the mighty startuphub.in is a very, very important platform to provide such support. So, the limited point I want to drive is that besides what all the Startup India is doing, which you might be aware of, what MSME is doing, what DST is doing, and what the state governments is doing, I know through the Hackathon, Haryana government is taking a battery of initiatives to promote startups. So everyone in the government is excited about our tech capabilities, the tech capabilities of startups, and government of India as well as the state governments are coming forward to provide all necessary supports to make them succeed and grow. That is the but what I want to drive at this point is to the startups is that their journey does not end with solving problems through technology. That is a point at which their journey starts. They need to look at that the sky is the limit if they have a feasible solution that can solve problems for the mankind. We as governments and many of the large industries are committed to their next generation growth, and will provide them all necessary support for making them grow. I give you an assurance from part of the my ministry and the government of India, and I know there are many people from the state government to also ready to give such assurances. And I like to see that by next 4 years, 25% of the total revenue in the digital space comes from such deep tech startups. Thank you once more for giving me an opportunity to speak to you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you for joining us here today. It was an absolute pleasure to hear you. Thank you for sharing the concluding remarks for the event. I would like to conclude the event on this note. I would like to thank all our partners and all our attendees for joining in. Thank you. See you next year. Thank you.
Thank you.